會唔會揮下手？唔得唔得，揮下手。
有啲動作，動作好快。
睇落。
照顧喺右邊，唔該右邊。
中間唔該中間。
好，差唔多啦。咁有請行政長官同埋第6任嘅行政長官當選人啦，分別上台上面。好，再講翻個流程。咁首先啦，行政長官啦會用中英文啦去發言，然後第6任行政長官當選人啦，亦都會用中英文去發言嘅。咁一如既往啦，之後我哋就冇呢個答問環節，今日嘅會面呢就會結束嘅。我哋依家首先有請行政長官。
各位傳媒朋友，各位香港市民，早晨。昨天5月8日，香港咧係成功同埋順利舉行咗第6任行政長官嘅選舉。我今早咧係非常之高興，可以係第一時間呢就係同當選第6任行政長官嘅李家超先生喺政府總部會面，等我可以親自恭賀佢啊！亦都係祝福佢喺未來呢個幾月咧，能夠成功組成佢嘅班子，喺未來5年帶領香港再創高峰。昨天喺香港舉行嘅第6任行政長官選舉係一個非常之重要嘅日子。呢一場選舉係自去年喺中央嘅指導同埋大力支持之下，完善咗香港特區嗰個選舉制度嘅首輪嘅3場選舉嘅最後一場。換句話說，我哋成功舉辦咗第6任行政長官選舉之後呢，按住基本法落實愛國者治港嘅政治體制已經係圓滿咁建立起嚟。呢個對於香港未來嘅發展呢係至為重要嘅。正如昨天喺選舉之後，國務院港澳辦同埋中聯辦發出嘅聲明裏邊指出，呢一個完善香港特區嘅選舉制度係有佢個大背景，係有佢嘅必要性。但係更加重要嘅就係呢一套完善咗特區嘅選舉制度，係完全符合一國兩制嘅原則，亦都符合香港嘅實際情況。佢既可以確保一國兩制行穩致遠，亦都可以確保香港特區長期繁榮穩定。所以藉此機會咧，我想喺呢度再次感謝中央喺香港面對前所未有嘅困難嘅時候，採取咗果斷嘅措施，先後為香港制定咗香港國安法，令香港由亂轉治，其後亦都係完善咗香港嘅選舉制度，讓我哋可以長治久安。但當然喺呢個過程裏邊呢，支持呢啲咁重要嘅工作，仍然有好多嘅團體同埋個人，我亦都喺呢度一併咧係向佢哋表示謝意。因為大家會記得啦，由舊年3月30日全國人大常委會修訂咗附件1同埋附件2之後，一連串嘅跟進工作咧係一個非常之緊湊嘅時間表下進行嘅，包括本地嘅立法工作啦，同埋先後順利安排咗呢3場嘅選舉。咁所以喺呢度要向立法會支持我哋當日好高效通過本地嘅選舉法例修訂嘅每一位議員，我亦都要多謝特區政府裏邊嘅每一位同事，特別係負責選舉政策嘅政制及內地事務局，同埋籌備呢3場選舉由馮驊法官領導嘅選舉管理委員會，同埋數以千萬計參加過籌備呢3場選舉嘅每一位公務員嘅同事。就以昨天為例呢，我相信我哋係動員咗 數以千計嘅同事，確保呢場選舉喺公平、公正、誠實、高效同埋安全嘅環境之下進行嘅。最後我想講呢，就喺嚟緊本屆政府嘅餘下任期，即係話唔到2個月，我哋仍然有大量嘅工作要做。其中一個重要工作呢，就係同下一屆嘅政府呢係順利交接。所以正如我昨日發出嘅聲明呢，由我領導嘅特區政府將會為由李家超先生開始籌組嘅第6屆嘅特區政府呢，提供一切所需嘅協助，包括可能大家都好關心嘅就係特區政府嘅重組嘅工作。我哋會喺最快嘅時間裏邊呢，能夠完成相關嘅程序。與此同時呢，我哋亦都會繼續穩控疫情，為日後同內地通關創造必要嘅條件，亦都會讓香港嘅社會呢盡快回復常態，等市民可以開開心心咁參加慶祝特區成立25週年嘅活動。Let me now say a few words in English. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Mr. John Lee back to the Tema government offices, following his very successful election as a 6th-term chief executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region yesterday. During our brief meeting this morning, I extended to John my warmest congratulations for his election as our next chief executive. And I also promise that this term of government will render all the necessary assistance and support to ensure that he will have every success in forming his governing team and will lead Hong Kong to a greater height in the next 5 years. Yesterday's chief executive election is a very important occasion because it was the third and the final of the first round of 3 elections following the improved electoral system of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. As we all know, there was a very severe backdrop to why we need to improve Hong Kong's electoral system. And I am very grateful to the central authorities for taking very timely measures to help Hong Kong to restore her stability. First, with the enactment and implementation of a national security law, and last year, with the improvements to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region's electoral system. As pointed out in the statement made by the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office of the State Council and the liaison office of the Chinese People's Government in Hong Kong yesterday, the electoral reform improvements will enable that Hong Kong will continue to thrive as a special administrative region under this important principle of one country, 2 systems, and will also lay a very solid foundation for the continuation of Hong Kong's stability and prosperity. I have to take this occasion to thank, above all, the central authorities for their support and guidance over these years, especially in the improvement to the electoral system, but also to thank thousands of colleagues who had put in a lot of efforts to put in place not only the local legislation for the electoral arrangements, but also to mount 3 successful elections. That is, the election committee subsector election last September and the 7th-term Legislative Council election last December, and then yesterday, the 6th-term Chief Executive election. I have to express my personal appreciation, particularly to the Electoral Affairs Commission, chaired by Justice Barnabas Fung, for hosting a very efficient, honest, and fair election, leading to the election of my former colleague, Mr. John Lee. In the remaining days of this term of government, we will render John every assistance that he needs to form a new government, and including, of course, the much talked about reorganization of the government structure. And at the same time, I and my administration will continue to fight this COVID-19 epidemic in order to enable the people of Hong Kong to return to normal life as soon as possible, and also to lay a strong foundation for the resumption of quarantine travel into the mainland. This year is the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. I hope very much to celebrate this very important occasion with the people of Hong Kong. 而家請李家超先生發言。
首先係多謝行政長官。各位傳媒朋友，早晨。昨天係2022年行政長官選舉，今日係我選舉當選嘅翌日。由於兩屆政府之間嘅交接工作係好多，而時間呢亦都係好緊迫，只有大約7個星期多。所以我非常感謝行政長官今日安排咗時間同我會面，立即咧係展開一啲交接嘅工作。我首先感謝行政長官安排咗候任行政長官辦公室，好讓我喺琴日當選嘅下午咧即刻可以展開工作，所以我係感謝行政長官就辦公室以及人員嘅安排咧係表示謝意嘅。我亦都感謝特區政府喺行政長官嘅領導之下，琴日係舉行咗一場成功而且係好順利嘅行政長官選舉。喺呢個選舉裏邊，我作為參選人有好多親身嘅經歷，我亦都充分睇到參加工作嘅公務員以及相關嘅人員呢，好專業咁喺不同方面嘅安排呢，係既周詳，亦都係好細緻嘅。我亦都聽到不同嘅選委呢，對今次選舉嘅安排呢，係好有正面嘅評價。我多謝行政長官同埋所有參與昨天舉辦嘅選舉嘅所有同事，多謝佢哋嘅辛勞同埋專業嘅工作。剛才我同行政長官會面嘅時候呢，討論咗喺未來幾個星期我哋嘅交接工作，包括正如剛才行政長官所講，架構重組有關方面嘅一啲事宜嘅，亦都有討論過我哋喺未來呢幾個星期嘅防疫抗疫工作將會係個走向會係點，亦都有大家提及呢係慶祝香港回歸祖國25週年嘅慶典活動呢嘅一啲考慮。喺政府架構重組方面，我感謝行政長官，佢喺重組方案方面呢，其實已經係做咗好詳細嘅一啲分析同埋計劃嘅。咁我對建議嘅內容呢係好多謝嘅。咁我亦都係喺某一啲細節嘅方面呢，就剛才同行政長官呢有交換嘅意見。咁亦都好多謝行政長官俾咗佢一啲睇法我嘅。咁我會翻去思考一下。之後呢，我嘅後任辦嘅同事呢，亦都會盡快呢同行政長官嘅辦公室嘅同事呢係商討細節嘅。今日稍後呢，我會去香港特別行政區嘅司法同埋立法機關分別進行禮節性嘅拜訪，先會呢同終審法院首席法官張舉能法官係會面，之後呢就會同立法會主席梁君彥會面嘅。今日下晝呢，我亦都會分別呢去拜訪4個中央駐港機構禮節性拜訪嘅，即係中央人民政府駐香港特別行政區聯絡辦公室、中央人民政府駐香港特別行政區維護國家安全公署、 外交部駐香港特別行政區特派員公署以及中國人民解放軍駐香港部隊。係多謝大家。跟住我用英文同大家講講。Yesterday was the 2022 Chief Executive election. I'm grateful to the Chief Executive, Mrs. Carrie Lam, for meeting me today, right on the next day after I was elected. I just had a very useful meeting with the Chief Executive. The discussion was useful to ensure a smooth transition to the new term of government. And we are working under a very tight schedule of some 7 weeks from now to the 1st of July. I would like, first of all, to thank the Chief Executive for arranging very quickly the office of the CE-elect, allowing me to work in the new office in the afternoon right after the election yesterday. I thank her for arranging the office as well as the helpful staff. I would also like to thank the government for organizing a successful and orderly election yesterday. As a candidate during the 2022 CE election, I saw firsthand the professionalism of the civil servants of the government through their meticulous planning of every element of the electoral arrangements. Different members of the election committee have expressed appreciation similarly towards the arrangements. For that, I thank the Hong Kong SAR government under the leadership of the Chief Executive and all the civil servants and personnel who took part and contributed to the smooth running and the success of the election. During the meeting with the Chief Executive earlier, we talked about a number of major tasks to be accomplished in the coming weeks of transition, including the proposed government reorganization package, the latest situation of Hong Kong's work in fighting the epidemic, as well as activities celebrating the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the Hong Kong SAR. I'm grateful to the Chief Executive for proposing a package of government reorganization, which facilitates the smooth transition between the two terms of government. The current proposal has already taken various relevant factors into account, and the suggestions are detailed. We exchanged views on certain elements in the package. I shall reflect on those views, and colleagues in the CE-elect's office will be discussing in detail with the colleagues of the C office ASAP. Later this morning, I shall meet with the Chief Justice of the Court of Final Appeal, Chief Justice Andrew Cheung, and the President of the Legislative Council, Mr. Andrew Leung, respectively. In the afternoon, I shall visit the 4 offices set by the Central People's Government in Hong Kong SAR. That is, Liaison Office of the Central People's Government in the Hong Kong SAR, Office for Safeguarding National Security of the Central People's Government in the SAR, Office of the Commissioner of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Hong Kong SAR, and Chinese People's Liberation Army Hong Kong Garrison. Thank you very much.
好啦，今日嘅會見到此為止，唔該晒大家。